Okay, next we are going to see about the next interesting fact about the sun. The first point, 1 million Earths could fit inside the sun. Wow, what a huge fact, isn't it? It's really a huge fact. We will say it's like enhancing word, but it's not an enhancing word. It's actually a true word. It's actually a huge wow, isn't it? Because 1 million Earth will fit into the one sun. Okay, then see how much big it is, the sun, isn't it? Okay, let's move on to the next point. The sun contains 99.86% of the mass in the solar system. So it's contained 99.86% of the mass in the solar system. And I've told you there are 3,30,000 times greater massive. Comparing to the earth, the sun has a 3,30,000 times massive than the earth. Okay, so nearly 99.86% of the mass in the sun. And the next point, there is a 10 kilometer difference between the sun polar and equatorial diameter. So there is a 10 kilometer distance. For which one? There is a 10 kilometer difference between the sun polar and the equatorial. Okay, so the sun polar and the equatorial have a 10 kilometer distance having. Next point, this means it is the closest thing to a perfect sphere that has been observed in the nature. So they are telling that there is a 10 kilometer difference between the polar and the equatorial, 10 kilometers between the polar and the equatorial. So this distance by naturally it's saying the sun is a perfect sphere. So only we are saying the sun is a perfect sphere. So on what basis we are saying a sun is a perfect sphere? We cannot see, actually at one point we cannot see the sun with through our naked eyes, isn't it? I think you will all know about it, isn't it? Without we will we cannot send any spacecraft to the sun. It's not possible. We can see it from very distance. Can see it very distance because it's a very hottest gas, isn't it? We can see at very distantly. So we cannot invest, or we cannot send any aircraft or any spacecraft into the sun. So then how they find it out the sun is a perfect sphere? Because of this only, because they are find it out the difference between the polar and equatorial is a 10 kilometer. So on that basis they are coming to the point that the sun is a perfect sphere. Okay, so next point is the sun will consume the earth. When the sun has burned all its hydrogen, it will continue to burn a helium for 130 million more years. That is, they are telling it will consume the earth. That is means it will consume the earth means it will be one point the sun will consume the earth. Why they are telling the sun will consume the earth means because when the sun has burned all its hydrogen, I told you when the sun will sun nearly have a 70% of the hydrogen. I told in my before points, isn't it? Before points I've told you hydrogen and helium, the percentage of the hydrogen and helium, nearly a 70 and something percentage of the hydrogen and 28% of helium is there in the sun. So when the full hydrogen is burnt, what will happen? We'll see. During this time, it will expand to the point that it will be engulf Mercury, Venus, and the Earth. Okay, when it uses the overall hydrogen, so it will affect whole planet, Mercury, Venus, and the Earth. So at the one point, it will become a red in color. So they are telling, no, it's not going to be happen, but they are just telling about the interesting facts. And the next point is about the sun will one day be about the size of the earth. Okay, the sun will one day be about the size of the earth. How? After its rest giant phase, the sun will collapse. It will keep its enormous mass with the approximately volume of our planet. Okay, so I have told you the sun once is every hydrogen gas. The full of hydrogen gas is burned with the Mercury, Venus, and the Earth. And after it's at one point the sun will become a red in color. And after this, when it happens, when the when happen like this, then furtherly the sun, the size of the sun will become the size of the earth. Okay, they are telling like that. And the next thing, the temperature inside the sun can reach 15 million degrees Celsius. See how it is, a 15 million degrees Celsius. We cannot bear for nearly a 32 or a 40. We cannot bear 30 to 40. We will always want to be very cool. 24 degrees Celsius is a very normal. No, it will be feel very chill climate. So we cannot bear up 32 to 40 degrees Celsius. We cannot bear. But it's nearly a 150 million degrees Celsius. So then you can assume how hot the sun is, isn't it? Okay, let's overview about the point. The very first point is 1 million earth can fit into the one sun. So, and also in this point I want to tell the one more thing. They are telling if 1 million earth can fit into the one point. If 1 million earth will fit into the sun, there is a no extra space in the sun. They are giving this point as a extra. Okay, so in the sun there are 1 million earth can fit into the one sun. And the second point is about 99.836% of the mass in the solar system. And in a previous point itself I have told you there are 3,30,000 times massive than the earth, I have told you. And the third point is how they are telling the sun is a perfect sphere, because we cannot do any spacecraft, or we cannot do any scientific research towards the sun. That is like a moon, we cannot go into the sun. So then how they are find it out the sun is a perfect sphere shape? Because of they are find it the difference between the that is a distance between the polar and equatorial. So they calculated the distance between the polar and diameter is a 10 kilometer. So on that basis they are telling by naturally the sun is in a spherical shape. And the next point is about at one point the sun will consume the earth. That is how it means when the sun will send it a full hydrogen, then Mercury, Venus and the Earth, the three planets will consumed by the Earth because of the because the reason because it's the hottest planet, isn't it? So when it send a full hydrogen energy, at one point the Mercury and Venus and the Earth will get burst. Okay. So at that point, when it happened, at that point the sun will become a red in color, and also they are telling the sun will become a very small, and when comparing to the earth, the sun will become a very small, or not. So comparing to the earth, it will become small as like a earth. And the next point is about very last point, temperature. So temperature, it's a main thing about the sun, isn't it? We have come across with a lot of facts and a lot of information about the sun, isn't it? Nearly we have seen about 15 points about the sun, but the most interesting point what I am seeing is its temperature. It's nearly 15 degrees Celsius in temperature. Okay, so it's a 15 degree in 15 million degree Celsius. So only it's a hottest planet. We'll see more interesting facts about this hottest planet.